Hi guys, welcome back. Last time we looked at the Android Studio interface. We even created a sample application. In this series or in this episode, we are going to start building a real-world Android application. So the app that we're going to build is a real estate application. So I'm just going to show how the app works and then we'll start looking at the details from there. So the app that we're building is an app where a user can rent, can sell their property, and also there's an extra feature of being able to post and book services. So the first page that we see here is a splash screen. From here, we get to a page where we can log in or create an account. So I'll choose create account. I enter my phone number. Okay, the verification code has been sent. So I'll create my account, username, Francis, where I'm looking for property. So here is the homepage of the application. The first thing we notice is that we can search. The other thing we notice is we can even post. So when you click here, you can choose the property features, you can add images, you can choose categories. We also have details, so we can look at details for that property. We can even book a viewing like that. Then we have the services. So these are just sample services that I've added. We have the me page. So this is the user's own page. So we'll look at all these details as we build this application. But for now, what we have to understand is the process. How do we build an Android application? So I've prepared a PPT here. When building an Android application or a real application, we need to define what we're going to build. Now, we can use certain methods in order to help us to define what we're going to build. So the first thing that we have to do is create a mapping. Now, the process of creating a mapping follows through certain steps. The first step is gather all the wants and needs of an app. The second step is to review each requirement and its feasibility. The third step is to make a prototype. The fourth step is validation. And the last step is documenting the flow. So a client has given you an idea. They want to create an Android app, or maybe yourself, you have an idea. How do you go about creating this application? So we are going to simplify the process by categorizing it into two. We have user flows and user stories. So what you can see right now on the screen is what we've written as, or what we've named as user flow diagram. So here I've used a pen and a paper in order for me to visualize the idea that I'm trying to build. So we're trying to build a real estate application. How do we start? We start with a pencil, a pen and paper. So the first thing we've drawn here is a splash screen. But this is not the real interface, but it also gives us a view of how the real interface is going to be. We can even see the flow, like from getting started, we go to login or sign up page. From sign up page here, we have a decision to make. Is it a returning user? We show them login. Is it a new user? We show them register. This is a very simplified view, but this is a process that you need to get used to. The process of trying to gather the requirements, trying to come up with a user flow. This helps you to come up with what we call a minimum viable product. With this, you can move to the next step. The next step is to come up with user stories. So user stories will allow us to see how an end user is going to use our application. So in this case, we are pretending to be the end user of this application. As you can see, The first story that we have here, as a new user, I want to create an account. The way we've written this story is in such a way that it's decoupled from all the other stories that we are going to make. For example, if we had said, as a new user, I want to create an account and view properties, then we've coupled the creation of an account and also the viewing of property. So if you go through all these user stories, it will actually give you an idea of what we're trying to build. But having these user stories, we need a way to categorize them. So here we have user stories categories. So the first one is authentication flow. So this one involves the logging in, the sign up, the sign out, just that flow for authenticating a user. Then we have the post flow. We can have different flows here. I've categorized them like this just for an example. For a real-world application, you usually have a setup like this, where you divide the user flows like this. You can even add subflows. So these are the steps or the journey the user is going to take through your application. For application, just like we have seen in the introduction, we are going to be creating a real-world real estate application. So with this application, the first screen that we see is the splash screen. The second screen that we see is the sign up or the login, creation of an account, the home page, the property details, the services, the service order, booking, and the me page. The idea here is we've taken the concept that we wanted to have. So the concept of creating an Android application, we've taken that concept, then we've visualized it. This way, we followed the steps that we've talked about. So you might be wondering, how can you follow the steps of creating prototypes? You can use tools like Adobe XD. So Adobe XD is a tool that you can download for free. It will help you to create prototypes before you actually go to coding the application. Because usually the hardest part in making an application is not writing the code. It's actually understanding the requirements of what you're going to build and then getting that complex requirement or those complex requirements and breaking them down into small features. This way, each small feature will contribute to the overall idea or to the overall plan that we have in order to come up with a functional Android application. So let's try to look at the application that we're going to build. So this is the application that we're going to start from scratch. We'll build this application from scratch, and then we are going to see how we can go through step-by-step building an Android application. So for this tutorial, I actually want to showcase how we can go through the whole process. So we are going to use certain tools that will allow us, first with the user flows. So with the user flows, we are going to use Trello. So we are going to create a public board. This public board will be shared in the link in the description.